Oh, yeah, here we are, another Extra Bases with Bristol and Booth. Jason Bristol, Jeremy Booth, talking all things Astros and Major League Baseball. Hard to believe, Jeremy, but next week we will be, well, I'll be at spring training. I think you'll be joining me, right?
Come on, man. You know I'm going. I'm going on the 10th, 11th. Well, I'm leaving on the 10th with
Yep.
you, not
Yep.
on the same flight.
Yep.
But at 11, 12, 13, and then I got somewhere else to go.
And
I'll
if
be there
if
for 3 days.
and if we were on the same plane, I'd be waving at you from the back.
Yeah, probably. It's,
Because
I can't. I
Jeremy,
mean, I fly too much. It
yeah,
is what it is.
Jeremy at this point could potentially buy an airline with all the
Um,
points you have.
I figured it out, and I know we discussed it, but I have flown enough in my lifetime in this game, which
Hmm.
this is now year 30 in some capacity.
I have your text in
Um,
front of me, and
yeah.
go ahead.
um, 24 times around the earth.
Yep.
Um, and I've spent about 20 years of my life in a hotel.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not unusual for people that are involved in the parts of games in the game here. I'm not like I'm not an anomaly when it comes to that, but it's still a lot. And so it was impressive to figure that out when I got this updates because all these airlines are trying to keep your business now, right? So it's like, hey, you look how much you're doing. I'm like, well, let's go back and look. Oh my goodness. So it's been a lot.
On February 3rd, the Astros holding their media luncheon, which is like a preview of the season. They give us a sneak peek of the food items, some of the new merchandise, the promotional schedule. Dana Brown and Joe Espada are also there, and we are able to ask them some questions, our last bunch of questions before we see them in Florida at
Now,
the ballpark of the Palm Beaches at spring training.
aren't
And
you
you were
glad I
about to
didn't?
say something?
Aren't you glad I didn't go? Because I was gonna go. I mean,
Really?
no. Well, no, I wasn't gonna go. I mean, I know I was on the list to go, but um,
Let me ask you this. What is your number one storyline for the Astros heading into this 2026 season?
my number one storyline, what do
Like
they
if you had
need
to
to
pick a top three, I know what my top three would be.
stay healthy? I mean, it's stop and start right there. That's it. Stay healthy. I mean, because the rest of it, do they have enough to win the division? Do they have enough to be a player in the division? Yeah. I mean, you have to go play the games. But if they don't stay healthy, it doesn't matter. Oh, I got another one. Jordan Alvarez hits third and not second. And my third storyline is Jordan Alvarez doesn't know where the outfield grass is. That's what I got.
I think you could probably roll those two in together, Jordan. I would imagine the pitching staff, the starting rotation, how that is all going to play out. Some of those questions or those storylines were certainly part of the questioning on Tuesday at the media luncheon. Let's start with the injuries. Here's Joe Espada talking about injury prevention, injury maintenance, or body maintenance, and how it's been a major point of emphasis during the off season.
Yeah, we are going to spring training in a really good spot, health wise, and I'm really excited about that. Yeah, like you mentioned, Carlos, I met with Carlos a few times this off season, trying to look for ways to improve our process and how we keep everyone healthy. And we all came up with some pretty good ideas. And spring training is going to be. We're going to make some changes in spring training. It'll be more efficient and how we build our guys up, trying to keep these guys on the field. But I'm really, really excited about 26. I think 25 it's not going to define who we are. It's going to make us a better organization. It's going to push us forward. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, you know what? We just sat down with the staff and just kind of ways to how we could do things more efficient, like doing our training, and things that we could do differently. Just kind of building the guys up. I think we sometimes we think that more is better, but I think doing less and be more focused on certain things that will make us really improve our game So we kind of taking um, some some aspects of ideas that are given to us by our medical staff, and we're going to put it in play. And you guys will see some of those changes during spring training. But again, it all comes down to keeping our guys on the field. If we are healthy, we're the best team in the West. There's no doubt about that.
If we are healthy, we are the best team in the West, no doubt about it, says Joe Espada. And that, I believe, is the second time, at least the second time he's said that.
There's a doubt about it. There just is. There's a doubt about it. And look, it better be a doubt about it. It's not downing the Astros to be realistic about where they are. They have offensive pieces to go ahead and be really good if they use them right. But right now, Joe Espada for me is 0 for 2 on using them right. So I'm looking at a year where everybody's got to stay healthy and a guy's going to have his stars back, and that concerns me. Why does it concern me? Because he has not managed well when he's had his stars. He's managed well when he's had his non-stars, the Monstars, if you will. He's been really good when he's had those type of guys. So I think the club's in a position where Joe has hopefully learned from his mistakes. I think when he says 2025 isn't defining us from a leadership perspective, it doesn't define me. I got better. I'm learning, right? Because the guys are the guys, and that's great. That's great, Joe. It's awesome. You still got to let the stars be the stars, and you got to know how to move the pieces around at the right time. And then I would say the worst thing that can happen going into spring training is guys aren't healthy. So I would hope that's all recovered, because otherwise, you might want to petition to push it all back a week. The guys need some time. So those are positive statements, are also expected. And anytime somebody says, "Hey, you know what? That's a stall tactic to end around to whatever else they want to talk about." Hey, you know what? We just got together and I'm on both sides of that conversation both times, right? I'm on the protection side and I'm on the break it down side. So, reality, simple put, he has no choice but to say that. You better hope you stay healthy, and hopefully you've learned from your mistakes in the past. Because right now, again, you are 0 for 2 with this lineup.
Before we get to the other items on your storylines, let's touch base quickly on the issue of Framber Valdez and the fact that he is still a free agent. No surprise, Dana Brown was asked, and I was going to ask it, but it got asked before I could ask it. When was the last time they've discussed Framber Valdez, or he has spoken to Framber Valdez's representatives? Do we want to see what the Jeremy Booth machine would say if we feed it in there? What would you spit out? What do you think Dana's going to say?
If I'm Dana Brown, I say the last time I talked to Framber Valdez was when we discussed Framber Valdez when he hit Salazar in the chest.
All right,
That's
well,
what I'm saying, but that's just
not,
me.
yeah, that's not what he said.
That's
So
not what
now,
he said. Right.
no,
I
it's
know.
not. So now let's listen. Let's let's listen to Dana on the question about Framber Valdez. You can hear it all right, correct?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, it's been a while since we talked about, Framber. We know that he's still out there. Haven't had any conversation lately, but we're keeping our eye on things for all the guys that are still eligible and to sign as free agents. I mean, look, this is something that we would have to talk about as long as he continues to be a free agent, and we will have some discussions because of all the good things that he's done here. And so we'll see, at the end of the day what turns out. But anybody that's a free agent that we think could help our team, we'll have conversations about. As far as do we connect with them and make a move, it depends on what that does to our franchise and our future.
Anything stand out?
Yeah, it's exactly what he said. He just said it in a much different way. He said, haven't thought about it, haven't talked about it, not going to give any disrespect. We appreciate his time here, but we are not interested. That's what he said, okay? And at this point in time, the Astros may have to, and look, conspiracy theories abound, right? The Astros may have to give him a lifeline for him to have any kind of career. I mean, I've followed him a lot worse than you thought. It wasn't just that though. There's rumors around the game and people talk, and I'm not trying to spread them against him, but the stuff that people say about him in the clubhouse isn't good. just not good. We've all heard it. We've all heard it here in Houston while we, in the media and when you're connected there. And that's never come from Dana or any official. It's there. It's just what we hear. And so, if that's getting around the game, there's a reason why the guy that's got that type of stuff and that type of life left in what he does is unsigned. Part of that is that he comes with a draft pick. And you're not giving up a draft pick in today's day and age, with
Fourth
the
round
amount of
though,
teams.
Jeremy. Fourth
Yeah,
round,
it's
third
still a
round.
pick. It's still a pick, and for that amount of money to give up a pick, I don't know. I think what Dana's telling you is we get far enough down the line and we need somebody, we'll kick the tires on a 1 year. But we like the fact that we got a pick coming back. That's
I,
what we like.
I don't think the draft compensation. I think that has very little to do with this.
It has, and I will tell you that have been in those conversations, especially where the Astros are. Those picks matter.
Okay.
They've got to rebuild stuff, right? Now, if you're the Yankees, you usually don't care. But if you're the Astros and you refuse to go over a certain spot, and you've got a system that is anywhere from 27 to 30, you need to go get as many of those picks as you can get to build that stuff back up to get some capital. So I don't think I think for the headache that was there, he's more interested in the pick. But I'll also say that while he was nowhere near as direct as I said when he hit Salazar in the chest. And again, anytime somebody says, look, hey, we're going to talk about it means what it means. Okay. So that's what he did.
Joe Espada was asked about Lance McCullers, and then I offered a follow-up.
Uh-oh.
So here's Lance, the Lance situation from Joe Espada.
Lance McCullers, some things that you can't deny is he has pitched in big games for us as an organization. Lance McCullers is a champion, and he's been in a big stage in big moments, and that's hard to teach. So he's coming into camp with an opportunity to, fully healthy, that we are actually looking forward to that, and he is right there in the mix.
Do you expect him to start or come out of the bullpen, or will the spring dictate that?
This spring, having him healthy is very important. So I see Lance coming in and starting game for us in the spring, and then we go from there on a lot of our pitchers. I think as I stand here today, it's hard for me to tell you how our rotation is going to look. I could give you maybe one or two guys that are set and in that rotation, but there's, we are doing some. So, we want these guys to compete. We want to see what fits better. The first month of April, we have quite a few games. So how can we put these players in a position to succeed and keeping them all healthy? It's some discussions that we'll have throughout camp.
Talking about Lance, that allowed me, it was really the perfect opening for me to say, well, then what do you envision his role being? Is it starter, bullpen, or will his spring dictate that?
All he said to you is Lance is going to be in the pen, but he's going to come in and get his work in spring training. If he's healthy, we'll see where he fits.
No, he said Lance will start.
He will
spring
start
training. Games in the spring.
That's right. I'm telling you what he said underneath that. Because he said, look, we're going to have good discussions. He just said the same thing. And so when you say that, what you're saying is we're going to continue to monitor the situation. But if you start tomorrow, he's not in my rotation. He's in the bullpen. And we're going to give him a chance in spring training to see how this goes out, to see if he's healthy and he can hold up. That's what he said. Thank you, Joe Espada. Congratulations to the Houston Astros for finally turning the page on this about 8 years too late. But at least you did it. Okay? At least you did it.
Up next, we can either go with... Actually, we'll do this. Joe Espada... Huh?
I get nothing back on that one.
Well,
come on. I've only been saying it.
You've mentioned it for 5, 6, 7 years, so what else is there for me to say?
I don't know.
The next question... And I may have asked Joe this later. I was thinking of the logjam, Paredes, Christian Walker, Correa. What's he going to do? Like, my question was, has he formulated a plan yet? Or is he still in the process of making that plan?
Yeah, we are going to go to camp and we're going to give these guys a look at different positions. Once we get going, now we can start forming the roster and the idea of how this is going to work for everyone. I think it's important that these players know exactly their roles, and my job is to let them know once we get going how this is going to function for everyone. This is a veteran group of players that are really good baseball players, and they want to know exactly where they stand. And as the manager of the team, that's my number one job. be transparent with them, and I expect to do that early in camp.
I like what Joe's saying. These are veteran players, and paraphrasing, make sure they know their roles and where they fit. I guess I could have been more specific about what are you going to do with Paredes and Christian Walker with Carlos Correa, but I think he understood where I was going with that.
Well, if you ask that question, you get, I mean, look, we're going to get to camp. We're going to have discussions. We're going to figure out these guys fit. We'll monitor the situation as it goes forward.
So very similar to what we just got. Yeah.
I mean, look, I mean, if you get to, it's part of the reason why I don't go into these in the clubhouse is because I know what they're going to say.
Yeah.
And the answer is it's fluid. I don't know who's healthy, so I'm not going to say anything until I get there.
Well, their point is they later mentioned that they believe at this point the company line is having these extra bodies will allow them to rest some guys and they won't have to be on their feet all the time. And,
Well,
hopefully that'll stop the injuries or prevent the injuries.
they're
But
not wrong because if you throw Altuve into the mix, as far as these infield guys, every single one of those guys can go down at any point. Paredes can go down. He had, obviously he hustled his tail off and worked his tail off to be back last year after the injury. Christian Walker can get hurt with the best of them. So can Altuve, and we all know Correa can. So, when it comes to where they are in their point in time, they need those. They're going to go with those veteran guys to outslug people and outperform. They need to have rotations and days off because Jordan Alvarez has, you can't have him playing the position, right? So if you walk down the injury list of what they have, the guys could get hurt. Alvarez, Correa, Altuve, Walker, Paredes are all risks, all of them, right? So it doesn't make that's the right approach. Is we don't know what we're going to get and where we're going to go with it. Fluid situation, see who's going to get at bats where, understand their roles. That's probably some kind of a rotation because Alvarez can't play every day, even as a DH now. He's been hurt that much. I wouldn't be surprised if he's 4 days on, 1 day off. If that's the case, you can rotate guys like Paredes and Correa and use that other day as a rotation. You're not going to put Altuve in the outfield, I don't think, again. But you have different options to be able to use the DH as a rest day twice a week, and that they'll do that.
so if you are running this baseball team, you keep either Paredes or Christian Walker.
All of them. I want production, and if I don't know, Christian Walker can play left field too. By the way,
I
he
would.
can.
Come on.
No, he can do it. And go if you look it up, he's done it before. He can do it. And if you
Would
put
you stick
Christian Walker,
Paredes out there? Would you try Paredes out there?
yeah, I don't know that he can do it, but I wouldn't rule it out. I mean,
That's the one that kind of, to me, that's a left fielder. But
well, left field in Minute Maid, or I'm sorry, Daikin
yeah,
is not a tough position to play unless you're 5'7", I guess. But I mean, for the rest of the time, it's not. And I say that because it's a short wall, it's a short
that
throw.
wall acts as another defender.
Right. So I don't think that's a tough deal. I think if you roll out Altuve at second base, Paredes can play second base. If these guys are on a 4-day rotation, Correa gets a day off, Paredes gets a day off, Walker gets a day off, Alvarez everybody starts getting a day off. How you start that as the season goes on, a couple guys will sit at 1 day. Some of the guys plug in, some guys rotate out. So they'll see how the fit goes. One of those guys is going to nip in left field, and it's not going to be Alvarez. It's not going to be Altuve.
According to baseballreference.com, gosh, the internet's amazing. The last time Christian Walker played left field was 2018 at the age of 27.
Told you he did it. So
Okay. I mean, that was 8 years ago, Jeremy.
Well, he's a Gold Glove first baseman now.
Okay.
Well,
I understand that, but
yeah.
you can take your gold. That was part of the reason they signed him, was the fact that they believed that he could save them some runs at first base. So why would you move your Gold Glove first baseman to left field?
As much as I understand that was the reason they gave you.
Yeah.
They gave us. The reason that they signed Christian Walker was 30 pumps a year. That's why they signed Christian Walker. And defense at first base is something that is hard to do. I go back to the Moneyball movie in my head. Scott Hatterberg. Oh, it's not that hard to play first base. Tell him, Wash, it's incredibly hard. I mean, it's difficult to do. And yes, you want Christian Walker over there, but if you go around the infield, Altuve, Pena, Correa, Paredes, somebody can throw the ball to first base and they'll be just fine. None of those guys, except for Tuve in the past, have had throwing issues, including Correa. Those guys can pick it up just fine. Correa's a platinum gold glove winner at shortstop years ago. He's going to be fine catching the ball and throwing it across. And so are Paredes and so will Altuve. And we all know Jeremy Pena can play the position. So we're not necessarily worried about the rest of the infield as much as we were before.
And let's wrap up with this. Of course, Brendan Donovan now going to the Seattle Mariners in a trade with the Cardinals, an all-star heading to Seattle. My question today to Dana Brown was, do the Astros, given what Seattle has done, have enough firepower to hang with the Mariners?
Firepower to now in Seattle after Seattle made another deal.
Yeah, definitely have the firepower. Look, we have power. We got a combination of some speed with these younger guys. And so we're going to make contact. And so, as I said, if our guys are healthy, we can compete with anybody. And so, but we do need the guys to play up to their ability. And we need some of the young guys to step it up and show the upside that they have.
All right, there's Dana. There's Dana again.
I mean,
yeah,
okay,
okay.
Stay healthy. You're gonna okay.
They're very big that they. It's pretty clear that they feel if they had remained healthy last season that they could have, they'd be a team.
I said it. I thought they were a World Series team last year if they stayed healthy, but different year. I go back to the 2014 Seattle Mariners. Okay, 13 Seattle Mariners. We signed Robinson Cano. We needed one right-handed bat. It was Nelson Cruz. It was nixed. Got all the way to the play-in game or whatever. Didn't make it. And in 2014, it was a different club. Felix was different. Seager was different. The whole group was different. And I say that only to make this point. Every year is different. You don't know what it's going to bring. And you don't know. Just like last year, we didn't know the guys were going to go down for 3 months and they had a 4A club out of Sugar Land in Houston for the time that we did. So you can't predict all of that. If you stay healthy, are you a big league club? Yes. If you stay healthy, are you near the top of the division big league club? Also, yes. Are you a World Series club? Don't know. Can you beat the Mariners? I think the Mariners have the right to keep the crown right now. The Rangers are to me number 2, and you're number 3 today. Now you go into spring training, that can change overnight, but right now that's where you sit.
All right, I have both of us on screen right now because we had a lot of comments on our last episode. Let's start with this one. It's a long name, something Jill's Sandwiches Reviews. I always like hearing Jeremy's thoughts, as no one else who covers the Astros I agree with as much. And the things he says actually make sense. I think Burrows will be fine. Hunter will obviously be the ace. We'll see about everything else. I like building depth. For years, I keep hearing we have 9 aces. Well, where were those aces last year? And what about developing the offense? People forget about that. They have not addressed the offense at all, and the Correa trade really hurt them. Why they made it, I have no idea besides desperation. I like Carlos, don't get me wrong, but he isn't good anymore, and he's financially crippling them. Which then another person responded, Correa, a third of his salary is being paid by the Twins. We need his leadership. Walker is the one that is hurting us at $19 million. We need Paredes in the lineup, and Booth is saying we need the bottom of the order to produce.
The reason to bring Carlos Correa back was because you needed an injection in the clubhouse, and the Twins at the time were in a fire sale. Okay. Something that, by the way, Derek has been reversed up there apparently, and Derek Falvey obviously no longer is with the Twins. But the Correa to come back was an injection of personality and history and a little bit more support for the guys. Didn't understand what it meant to be part of that Astros run. That's what that was about. It's a lot of money. And there's a lot of money tied up in several players, right? But that's what happens when you cycle through, which is why the draft is so important to backfill. Here's the thing, and this is very unique to say, and I'm not punting when I say this, but both those guys are right. Like they're both right. They're both valid points, and they can both work together and coexist. Jill, sandwich reviews. Jill, thanks for the review. I'm not a sandwich, but I do appreciate it. When it comes to your assessment of the pitching staff, you're dead on. And when it comes to the Correa's salary, yeah, it's an encumbrance because you can't go get other things other places. I'm gonna go back to Christian Walker and I'm gonna say everything. 30 pumps.
All right.
Okay? That's what
Well,
he's here for.
we're running out of time. Richard says, I hope Mr. Bagwell is right because I have my doubts. That was obviously in response to my question to Jeff Bagwell. I wish Jeff would hit the road every time he's in the radio booth or TV booth we lose. We can thank him for the Abreu deal. This other one says, if the plate discipline of Jose Altuve and Yainer Diaz is not addressed, then yeah, we're very well be a third place team. Dalcow says, I disagree with Booth take. We are not a third place team. We had the most injuries in history and missed the division by 1.5. Seattle had the best season in a very long time. If the Astros stay healthy, we will be okay.
Yeah, being okay is fine. No one's saying you're not going to be okay, but your definition of okay relies on everybody else falling down too. So just take the Mariners out of it. That means you're telling me you're a second place team. Okay, great. That means the Rangers underperformed and you overperformed or performed like you expect. It still doesn't mean you're the World Series club, right? So sometimes people disagree because they don't want to hear the hometown team, especially here, isn't going to make it. And no one's saying that. You got to go play the games. It doesn't change the assessment of what they are. They have a lot of depth and a lot of parts to step up in case of injury, and they've got their aircraft carriers they're stars that are well paid on the roster eating up the salary. That doesn't change anything just because second or third's splitting hairs.
All right, Jeremy, once again, we are in under a half hour, and we appreciate that. The streaming department appreciates that. So, Jeremy, I will see you next week, and I will obviously talk to you before then.
I'll see you Tuesday.
Yeah. That's going to do it for Extra Bases, and we appreciate all of you for commenting on the YouTube page. And as always, we appreciate it, and we look forward to the next one. For Jeremy, I'm Jason. Take care, everybody.